Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series. I am so happy today to have a very special guest who has a very unique eye, and I absolutely love it. Jaylynn Nash is here with us today, and I am so excited. But I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell you guys about herself.
Hey, thank you for the wonderful introduction. That's so sweet. My name is Jaylynn Nash, and I'm a pro sports photographer, but I also photograph colleges as well as brand and influencers and all of that nature, lifestyle as well, and families, everything else. But I've been working in pro sports for 7+ years, but in general, I've been photographing for 10+ years of many different clients. And I'm also a graphic designer, do some social media stuff too, but mainly it's the photo, which is my dream, and very thankful for it. And I'm originally from South Dakota. So,
How is it? How do you like being here in the South? Do you like?
well, it's supposed to snow today, and I always laugh when it snows here because I'm like, you guys are a bunch of babies, but it's just a joke.
We no,
But
I see it wholeheartedly. I have family who's in the north, and they're like, "You canceled school because of this?" And I was like, "You have no idea. Like growing up, I got so much crap for it just because
I love going outside.
I love it." And I'm like, "This is just." I'm like, "Yep, we're gonna de-ice the roads. We're gonna prepare like the freaking blizzard is going to happen here." It's really not, but we always prepare like it is.
Yeah, I think it's so funny. So I thoroughly enjoy it. I moved here not knowing anybody. So I actually made all my connections, everything all by myself and with obviously help along the way and networking. But I did not know anybody when I moved here. So I've been enjoying it. I've been here for 4 years. So
Awesome. Very nice. Are
yeah.
you in Raleigh?
Yep. In Raleigh. Yeah.
Yes. Very nice. I've lived here my entire life, call this place my home, and I like love it here.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place. I love the state. I
Yeah.
actually saw photos of it when I was younger. That's like one of the reasons I had moved. I saw photos of it when I was younger in magazines, as
Yeah.
cheesy as that sounds.
Yeah.
And I love that there is beach and mountains and city and countryside. I am very much a countryside person, but my work revolves in the city. So I have to live near like a major city. But I had seen photos of it and I wanted to live there. And ironically, I got to do it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy.
I think it's so cool that the fact that there's mountains 3 hours away, there's beaches 2 hours away, city, and you have hockey and football all in the same state. Like you
Love
couldn't
it.
ask for something better in my mind.
No.
It's absolutely beautiful. I want to jump right in and just ask you why photography? What drew you to photography?
Yeah, so I've been shooting since I was about 9. I actually started on film. Mainly for me, I had stuff like pictures in my brain and I loved creating scenarios artistically and then bringing them to life. And then when sports came along, I honestly just loved freezing that moment in time and for everybody because I loved seeing all these major moments happen, but then people had photos of it and like those photos like last forever. They mean so much and it's very historical. So being able to freeze that action in time definitely coincided with the loving of creating things in photography world. So
Do you remember your first camera? Like what type of first camera it was?
yep. So I did have a film camera. My parents had given me film, so I did learn on film. And like, everybody's learning on digital now, which is cool, but very excited to learn from the old school. And it was there's old film that I did learn, but I also had like one of those point and shoots, but it still was film.
Yeah.
And it was purple and it was see-through. So you could see all the gears working. And
So
then my dad had an old point and like film one too.
yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah, that was my first
so
camera, and my
cool.
parents actually saved it.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, it's in like my baby box. It's so cute. It's so
I love
sweet.
that. I grew up, kind of the same. I was always behind a camera, like family pictures, like there are none of me because I was always the one that was taking them. And it's just like carried through my entire life that I'm behind a camera in some sort of way, whether it's video or photo.
Yeah,
I relate to that. So I love it though. I love capturing, those moments and just being able to be like, that was awesome. I remember that and I was able to capture it.
yeah, and people get to put it up in their homes.
Yeah, I absolutely love it.
So
You talked about the fact that you do take I mean, you are a sports photographer. You have
yeah,
so many incredible pictures.
thank
And
you.
like I found you surprise on TikTok, like your videos, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's taking pictures for so many teams that I am huge fans for. Um,
Oh, cool.
I'm a diehard Carolina Hurricanes fan. I went to NC State. So I am a big fan of, like, I see the pictures, I'm like, "Oh my god, like I love this," and I know some of the guys, so it's so fun to see. Can you talk about a little bit of how you got into sports photography? Like, what was it about sports that drew you to it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So that's really cool that those are your favorites because those
Yeah.
are some of my clients. That's insane. But you didn't know I was the person behind taking the photos. So when I'll try and shorten it a little bit, because it is kind of a long story, but I'll try and shorten it. So when I was 19, I was up in Minnesota. I was going to college in Mankato, which is 3 hours from my hometown in South Dakota, but an hour and a half from Minneapolis.
Okay.
So I was a full-time college student. I also had two internships, three full-time jobs, and one of those internships I had started with the NBA and WNBA. So
Yeah.
I actually started in pro and then I did college, which is very backwards from what everybody does.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very thankful because that is actually really rare that that happens. So, and I was 19, which is very,
Wow.
very young to start in sports.
Yeah.
People thought I was like way older, but and then they're like, wait, you're actually 19. So certain things I actually wasn't allowed to go photograph. It was really interesting,
Yeah.
but just because of the age and stuff that was going
Yeah,
on. But
absolutely.
yeah, I was 19. I started with the NBA and WNBA. So I was with the Timberwolves and the Lynx, and I was with the Lynx for their winning season, which was really cool to be a part of. And those photographers who trained me, I'm actually still close with today, a lot of them. And what kind of happened was I photographed that and I did intern work for it in the sports world. How I got that internship is my other internship. The guy who owns the Timberwolves, he also owns the company that I designed for. So I
Very
had a graphic design marketing internship, and they had put me in connection with like the photo people for the Timberwolves because he owned them.
yeah.
So very thankful. Once again, very rare. um, and then kind of what happened was I was kind of invited to go and shoot all the other sports, the pro sports within the Minne- Minnesota area, and which was super, super cool and very exciting. And kind of got invited by that, and then different clients and all those photographers within those pro sports. Like I said, I'm very close with them, and I still look up to them to this day. And it is all males, but
Yeah.
it's still amazing because they're the nicest. They are so cool and they critique my work. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that kind of happened. And then I got an offer to move to North Carolina.
For you, what is it like being a woman in sports? What has kind of been your experience, especially as, more women have gotten into the world of sports?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because a lot of people ask me, do you have a woman that you look up to within the sports world? And to be honest, I actually don't.
Yeah.
Because growing up and when I started, the women, they actually weren't that nice, which is kind of sad to say, but the women that I was surrounded by within the sports, they weren't that nice and they weren't that supportive, so the guys always were. And so and still to this day, I don't really have a woman, like I have women that I respect and I do like their work, but I actually don't have one that I look up to. So that was kind of ironic because the guys actually nurtured me.
Yeah.
But, which they're still amazing and they're very supportive. But definitely when I was in Minnesota, everybody was kind of like equal. There was no drastic difference. One person made one comment. They're like, yeah, have you ever noticed that you're actually the only girl here all the time? And I had never really noticed it. It never really registered because they treated
Right.
me so much respect and everything. And then I had moved to North Carolina, and I'm not gonna lie, and I'm very honest about it. I moved here, and that was a completely different ballgame. So
Yeah.
that's when I started to realize that I am the only girl
Yeah.
here, and certain things are said to me that probably aren't very nice and stuff like that. But you kind of just have to, you just brush it aside and keep going, or you stand up for it and anything of that nature. So that definitely moving here actually was where I really started to realize that I am the only girl. And one of the tidbits that a lot of people don't really know is that I've been here for 4 years,
Yeah.
about. Um, the first 2 years when I moved here, I actually wore neutral colors. So I wore black, grays, and yellows, or not yellows, sorry, black, grays, and whites to blend in because a lot of the people around here, they are males, a lot of the guys basically around here, they didn't think I was here for the right reasons, and they didn't believe me, and they didn't believe my clients, they didn't believe anything, so it was really sad, but the first 2 years, I actually just went into hiding, and then the
Oh,
past 2 years, I started wearing pinks. I started to, you know what? That is my work. That is a mural that has everything, all my stuff, like, that is amazing,
absolutely.
and so I started to just, be myself and not care, and obviously they did get mad, but I didn't care, and they made comments because I would come from my full-time job to go and shoot, which, thankfully, I've worked so hard that now I get to do full-time
Yeah.
shooting, but I had worn a dress and then I would come to a game and there would be comments made and I'm like, I change clothes, so I would change into, my yoga or anything of that nature that is like professional, but I wear pinks now because I was tired of blending in. I was tired of all those comments. I was like, I'm gonna be a girl and I'm gonna own it. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's so important. There are so many comments, and I think it's so crazy the fact that, women trying to get into the sports world, no matter if it's from photography or announcing or whatever it may be, that we're still looked upon as that. It's so weird that we like sports. So weird that we
yeah.
want to be in the world of sports. Um, so I always like talking to women like yourself and just at like seeing what it's like from your perspective. Because it's always different depending on where you are in the sports world.
Yeah. Especially, like, because, we get locker room access and everything of that nature, and some people have huge fits about it, and other people, thankfully now, because 'cause I've been here a few years, now people are just like they just accept it and everything of that nature, and I'm like, "It's should be even playing field." I don't understand why I'm treated the way I am.
I
So,
completely agree. But your work has spoken for itself. Like you had a huge like Carolina Hurricanes mural in the airport. You've been on ESPN.com. You've been on tons of NHL Instagrams,
yeah.
TSN.com, so many different places. Like your work has clearly spoken for itself and has been everywhere. And I just what was the feeling you got when you first saw yourself on one of these like places and you're like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, it's kind of crazy the older I've gotten, the more I've, like, looked back and been like, "This is insane." Um, and I'm not that old
Yeah,
either. I mean, I am for some people, but some people I'm still not. My coworkers, I am the youngest.
right.
So, yeah, I think I was 22 or 23 when I had my first ESPN feature, and I was like, "This is insane," because I had only lived here not even a year, and I already had a feature, and that was, like,
Crazy.
college here. So,
Yeah,
that was just kind of like it was a very, very shocking thing, but definitely the Carolina Hurricanes mural that was in the airport, I had no idea. So I had seen it on Twitter of all places, and I'm not very active on Twitter, but I am just to like catch up and kind of like see my work and see other people's and support other people. And I was on Twitter and I saw somebody tweet it, and then I was like, I think I took that, I did shoot for the Carolina Hurricanes during the playoffs, so it made
very
sense, which I'm very, very thankful for because I was 24 when I had done that, which is still super young to shoot for a pro team like directly. So
yeah.
it's been an honor and a dream come true. They do use me from time to time, which I'm so thankful for. But yeah, I had seen it and then I was like, I need to go to the airport. And I live very close to the airport.
Yeah.
So I went to the airport by myself, paid for this, and I started crying, which is
Cool.
typical girl, but I don't give a crap. So I started crying when I actually saw it because it is for to ceiling, obviously, with the pandemic and marketing and money for sports. Obviously, it had to be taken down during the pandemic, which made me sad. But and we had surprised my parents when they came to town because I am from South Dakota. So surprising them was super cool because we're like, hey, mom, turn around. Do you see that mural? So
That's
it was
awesome.
insane. It was so cool when friends came because they would record and be like, I know this person. And yeah, and that was also put into billboards around the town
Yeah.
as well, which has been super big and other places, magazines. So it's been really insane. And I am always very, very thankful because you never know you're gonna see something of that magnitude.
Yeah.
And it's a rarity to see something in print nowadays. So seeing it in magazines and seeing it that big and everything, it was a dream come true and I'm very, very thankful. And it was a cool shock. So
I love it, and massive applause to you because I mean, it was massive. It was like took up that full wall. Like it was so cool to see. So massive applause to you for that. It was
thank you. Thank
awesome
you.
picture. You do brand photography. Can you dive in a little bit, like in your experience, what the difference? I mean, sports and brand are really two different things,
Yeah.
but what is kind of the process that is a little different for each?
Well, one's not as fast action packed. But then the other one, which is fine. I like doing brands and lifestyle as well because I like to mix it up.
Yeah,
And it allows me to do my creativeness. Sports does allow me to do my creativeness, especially now with like doing the studio light stuff too for clients that have given me the opportunity to do that. That actually helps, but definitely with lifestyle and clothing brands, it's a lot slower, but it's also more detailed. You create it as you go,
yeah,
and the brands, if they have any special requests, then you get to do that. One very cool thing is, which I'm very thankful for again, I had actually signed with Bauer Hockey, which I've always wanted to sign with them since I was 19.
massive,
Yeah. Yeah, and so
massive.
they're very big in the NHL world, and they have an amazing, amazing clients and very supportive, and that was really cool to sign with them because I got to combine my like for brands along with sports. And,
Absolutely.
you see that brand and everybody wears it. So, especially up north, down here, it's a little different, but sports wise, it's everywhere in the NHL. So, being able to combine that and combine the action pack along with creating it and bringing the brand everywhere. And I actually have some of the stuff somewhere. Actually, it's right here. So being able to like bring the stuff
Yeah,
with and stuff like that has been really cool. So it's different. You have to outsource your models. Maybe some people will give you models. Very different, but very fun, very creative. Different niche too. You have to take whatever the brand wants and do your own style, but also do what they want and cater to what they need. And you need to come up with new ideas and try it in different ways. So it is complex, but it is really fun too. I need to take it places. So when
yeah.
I travel for work, that's the best part. Like the skates that I just showed you, when I travel, I can just whip those out and photograph them, and I have. So
Whether you are on the court, field, ice, for sports, do you have like a particular place like this is my money spot? This is where I live. This is where I love to take pictures from.
yeah, so it really depends because a lot of the times you're assigned your spot and you can't really move.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're not assigned your spot, but a lot of times you are. Right now with the pandemic, if you're the only one there, the whole place is your ballpark. So I love it. But when you are assigned certain places, you do have to work a certain way and everything like that. So I don't really have a favorite spot. I
Yeah.
definitely, when I get to a certain spot, I'm like, okay, what lenses can I use? What am I able to do? What am I not able to do? So it is very different, but I love the flexibility and the creativity and the versatileness of all these different spots. So
Yeah.
I'm always open to going somewhere new because that ends up, it could be really awesome or it could be a really cool learning experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really depends. I'm kind of just all over the place.
Nice. You are a Canon camera girl,
Yeah.
aren't you?
Hmm. Hmm.
What are
Yeah.
the can you tell us about the camera and the lens that you use?
Yeah, sorry they're downstairs. I could have grabbed them.
No, you're
I have a Canon. So my first like fancy camera that actually I got from the guys at ESPN, which was super cool. When I worked like I had my internship. So my first camera, the digital one, was a Canon 7D Mark II, and I still have that. And that is technically now my third camera that can be used for remote.
nice.
But I saved up my money and I was able to get my dream cameras. So, and I've wanted these for a long time. So I ended up getting the one Canon 1DX Mark III when it first came out, which is super nice. Yes, very expensive, but once
Yes.
again, saved and it was in my business. And then I got the also previous to that, I had the 1DX Mark II.
Okay.
So, and then lenses wise, my go-to is my 70-200 because that's versatile. It's very, you can do up close and then far away, just to
Yeah.
make it easier to explain that for everybody. And then there's a 24-70, which is also like a wide angle type, very much like up close lens to go and get like the portrait work and everything on that nature. And then I also have many other lenses, like a 300 millimeter,
Yeah.
so I can go, get the distance, and I have an extender for that as well. Sometimes I use a 400 millimeter, and then I have a fisheye. So I have a lot of different lenses, but mainly it's like the 24-70 and 70 to 200 are your go-tos
Yeah.
for everything.
I love that fisheye too. I don't know, like, it just produces some really, really awesome pictures.
Yeah.
No matter like, you can, I think, get it to, like, put it over your phone even, just but, like, the way I have
Yeah.
seen a few of your fisheyes, and they are so cool the way that they
Thanks.
turn out, so I love it, and I love how I think it was a few hockey shots too,
Yeah, with
that I
the ball too.
yeah, yeah, I
Mhm.
absolutely love that.
Thank
Wanted
you.
to do a speed round with you, just,
Okay.
like, a couple options.
Okay.
Um, Hockey or basketball?
Hockey,
Baseball or soccer?
baseball,
Sports or brands?
sports,
Action or portrait?
action,
Collegiate or professional?
pro,
Do you want outdoors or indoors?
outdoors.
Ooh, very cool. I was so curious because you do so many different sports, like, I'm like, what does she love to take pictures of? And you work
Yeah.
a lot with Wake Forest.
Yep. And NC State.
Yeah,
So pandemic wise, NC State, it's been really hard for them. But yeah, so I'm actually signed with NC State and Wake Forest
very cool.
as well. So I was with the NC State, baseball team for that.
Yeah,
There's just a few sports that I do with them, and then I also do the Wake Forest ones as well. So
very
that's been really sweet to be a part of and
yeah.
be contracted with them as well for whatever their needs.
When do you feel the most challenged?
When I'm actually going into something that I've never done before,
Yeah,
also that's another reason why I do like shooting hockey. I feel like it's always a challenge and there's always something different that you can do.
yeah,
So hockey is just versatile. There's still so much that you can still do and lots of challenges, lots of different angles that you can do.
yeah,
So definitely that, but mainly like doing something that I hadn't done. So like Duke had called me once, which I'm very thankful for. Duke had called me and they had asked me to come and do an assignment because they really, really needed somebody over the summer, which is super cool. And it was kind of like a Coach K type deal. And it wasn't really basketball related, but it was with Coach K's
got it.
stuff that he was doing. But it's something I had never done before. And they're like, you'll be fine. And I was like, oh God. So I had freaked out the night before, but I ended up doing fine from what I was told.
Yeah,
So it's just stuff like that where you just go into the unknown, but then you end up trying to prepare and trying to do your best and you're like, okay, just go with it. So
yeah,
it was like my first time at NASCAR, even though I grew up with racing for 26 years of my life. Going to NASCAR for the first time and IndyCar, grew up with racing, I was still nervous. Still
yeah,
was like, I don't know what to do. But
yeah.
I ended up knowing what to do.
And that's great. Like, you have done, like, professionals like NBA, NHL, NFL, but then you do NASCAR. Like, it's such a big difference. What is kind of the difference between, like,
Yeah.
those kinds of sports, and then you go in, like, fast cars and everywhere? What is it kinda like?
Yeah, yeah, and then I did Red Bull Crushed Ice, which is also, like, completely different, and it's Red Bull, so, like, very thankful, yeah. NASCAR is I grew up with racing, so that really helps me because that does give me the upper edge on at least knowing what's going on. I grew up with drag racing, and then obviously NASCAR just kinda, like, coincides with a little bit of it, so that's really helped me, and the IndyCar, but definitely it was the people around there who also helped me.
Yeah,
Because I don't know the way of how they go. I know there's a bunch of restrictions, and now there's even more. But where I can go, where you can't go, you got to be careful with the cars and everything. So it
right.
is definitely different. And it's also like you can run from place to place, but you can also stay in one place
Yeah, oh,
and
yeah,
catch some cool angles.
yeah.
But like you got to get it like when they come. And a lot of the times, people love like the crashes, which is really sad, but they do. But you actually might not be in the area because you just don't know. So
Yeah,
like that is something that you have to accept with NASCAR is that like you
absolutely.
actually might not be in the area when that happens.
Right.
So and like don't be too hard on yourself with that. But yeah, NASCAR is something different because the cars are going fast and it's hard.
Yeah.
IndyCar is actually a little bit easier than NASCAR. So
Okay, okay,
yeah,
interesting.
I learned that too. So and I was told that and I learned it when I went and did it. So yeah.
What for you is the most rewarding part about being a photographer?
So I always love, and I've been saying this since I was little. I've always loved the reaction to my work. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the reaction can always be good.
Right?
So, and I do some really I can do some I'm a very vibrant, happy, upbeat person, but I can do some really dark stuff. So, sometimes with that, it's really funny to see people's reactions and see that as well on the artsy side, and then I'm trying something new with, like, a sports thing, and people either like it or don't, so I do love their reaction, and then currently, it's been kinda crazy. I had started that TikTok, and I never believed that people would find me, but a lot of
Yeah,
people found me. So just kind of being an outlet for like other photographers
yeah.
as well as kids and girls, that want to like be in the sports industry and everything on that nature. Like it's really cool to be a part of like that nurturing and allowing them to ask me questions and advice and they can ask me any questions, sign in my DMs at any time. I'm slow to respond, but I promise you I will respond. I've gotten emails and being able to be on like this amazingness too has been really cool. So yeah.
One of the last things I want to ask you is just kind of like whether it's collegiate or professional, like what is a typical game day routine kind of look like for you?
Yeah, so I am much a planner and I do like to prepare the night before. So I try and charge everything, plan everything, plug everything in, and then battery wise and everything on that nature, make sure I have everything because I do tend to travel because
Yeah,
sometimes, I will maybe go to a Panthers game or like yesterday I had a double. So I had to make sure that I was
right.
at practice in the morning, the Carolina Hurricanes practice, and then I was at a Wake Forest game.
Got it.
So going from that, I just kinda make sure that I always, like, have things charged or I always bring my charger with because there might be some spare time. I prepare my files because certain clients need certain things where I might have to label a player or say who it is, and the other time, they might just need a bunch of the images or edits on that nature.
Yeah.
So that's kinda like the pre-prep stuff, and then I also look at the weather because if you're outside or inside, anything on that nature. I will say I did answer outside. I do like outside because I love, like, light and
Yeah.
happiness, but yes, I know hockey is inside, but I'm, like, an ODR fan, so
Yeah.
outdoor hockey is awesome too, but yes, I will say indoor for the hockey sense of it, but
Yeah.
I do like outdoor, so ODR on that nature. But yeah, game day, it's pretty much make sure everything's prepared. You got to get there 2 to 3 hours
Yeah.
before a game or anything on that nature. Get your files prepared for different clients on that. And then also try and, get your edits done or any edits, any pre edits that you need to do. And then go out, test your light, test everything. See who's playing, pay attention to the game. Some people might be playing, some might not, and that's
Yeah.
gonna mess with your files and everything on that nature. So making sure that you just have all that preparedness ready to go, and then prepping everything, and then game time, and also taking a breather before the game
Yeah.
because like my first Duke game that I'd ever done at the Cameron, I was so nervous, but then I always just need to like prepare.
Yeah.
So yeah, 4 years with Coach K now.
Yeah.
I take a breather before and then after, and then the one thing that I do after every game, every event, everything I've ever done is I call my mom. So it's just like a tradition. I mean, I call my mom, my dad's always there, so it's just easy. But I always call my mom after every game, and I've been doing that for 7+ years.
Nice. The last question I always ask everybody is what inspires you?
That's such a good question. What inspires me? It's honestly just growth and learning.
Yeah.
So everything, as cheesy as it sounds, everything around me inspires me because of everything is evolving and changing, and there are some amazing photographers out there doing amazing works and all that nature. And so just kind of like what's around me, what can I see, what can I do,
Right.
how can I make it better? But for me, I'm very career driven and competitive and goal driven.
Yeah.
So making sure that I can try and how am I going to get to those goals? How can I complete it? That kind of drives me and also inspires me, and growth inspires me because I think that you should always be willing to grow and learn as a photographer. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck and, clients are going to get bored with you.
Yeah.
So that's what I try and do. I try.
I love it. I love it. And I think it's so important growth. I like that's one of my goals for this year is just to like embrace the growth of whatever it may be, whether it's
Yeah.
personal life or work or whatever it is. I think it's so important that part of growth in life.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And especially for me, kind of just in general, I put an emphasis on making sure I take time for my personal life.
Yeah,
I'm very, very thankful, I'm not complaining at all when my schedule was, go to my full-time job and then go every single night and then every single weekend is a game.
right.
But it ended up being that I was getting burned out. And
Yeah,
also, my family is from South Dakota, so when they like fly down or they drive down, they're only here for a couple days.
right,
So I also, I need to make time for them as well. So this past year with the pandemic and then, just in general going forward, I always try and remind myself to, take some time for your personal life
right.
so you can have a personal life.
Yeah.
With sports, it definitely takes away your personal life. So making time for that and making time for my family as well.
Thank you so much, Jaylynn, for doing this. I appreciate
Thank
it so
you.
much. You guys, all of Jaylynn's socials are going to be linked down below, so go check out her amazing work.
Yeah.
She is doing some incredible stuff in sports right now and brands. So please, please, please go check out her stuff. And Jaylynn, thank you again for doing this. And I will see you guys back here next time. Bye, y'all.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.